Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to CC Productions. The College Football Playoff Committee dropped their second rankings of the 2023 season last night. We're starting to see how things are shaping out. We're starting to get a look at what the playoff is going to be looking like. We're starting to get a look at what games we need to be watching in the future, conference championships, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be breaking down the entire top 25, seeing what we agree with, seeing what we don't. But let's get right into it and take a look at 25 through 21. So first off the bat, Kansas State obviously got a drop down after a loss to Texas. Stinks for them. They were starting to get hot at the right time, maybe in that Big 12. North Carolina, crazy seeing them at 24. They were 6-0, maybe even 7-0, and now they got 7-2. That's some tough losses. So good to see them get back into the rankings, but they're one of those teams that were undefeated for like a really long time, and now they're at the bottom of the top 25. So good that they're at least ranked after being not ranked last week. Tulane hanging around in this area. Iowa, after a win against Northwestern, I don't really know how that bumps you up from unranked to 22, but they get bumped up. They're ranked. Their defense is good enough to be a number one team in the country. Their offense is just probably the worst in the country. Arizona, start putting some respect on Arizona. They're kind of being sneaky over there in the Pac-12. They just beat UCLA, so we're going to see how that plays out moving forward. Next up, Notre Dame slips all the way to 20. That's especially tough for Ohio State fans here. You start thinking about it, that's like their big win on their resume as they beat Notre Dame. Well, Notre Dame keeps losing to teams like Clemson. Win doesn't look as good anymore. LSU obviously slips after losing to Bama. That stinks. Looking at 6-3 now, that season is looking a whole lot different after taking a loss to Alabama. Utah, if they had Cam Rising, they'd probably be top 5 right now, but instead they're at 18. Oklahoma, want to talk about a meteoric fall. They were sitting there 7-0. Season's looking fantastic. All of a sudden, 2 back-to-back losses to Kansas and Oklahoma State. And here you are at 17. And Kansas. College football is better when Kansas is good. I'm so excited to see Kansas here. Put some respect on them. That offense is super good, and they're getting hot at the right time. 15 through 11, we're starting to get into some teams who next year, these teams might be fighting for a playoff spot. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that next year when we have a 12-team playoff. But Oklahoma State moves up 7 spots after the big win against Oklahoma. Dude, when they lost to South Alabama earlier this year, I thought Oklahoma was done. They lost 33-7 at home against South Alabama. Oklahoma State's firing on all cylinders. They look fantastic. So we're going to have to see what happens in that Big 12 moving forward with Oklahoma State. Missouri, yeah, they're actually, Missouri's a good team. They competed really, really well against Georgia last week, and you only dropped 2 spots for it. So you take a loss like that, but you're really competitive against Georgia. You only drop 2 spots. Tennessee, yeah, they've still got a treacherous season. So good for them being ranked 13th. Maybe they'll get back like an Orange Bowl or something. Oregon State moving up once again. They might make some noise in the Pac-12. DJ Ugal, or however you say his name. Who knows what he will do in the Pac-12? So excited to see how that plays out for them. And Louisville, really sneaky. I feel like I haven't heard way too much about Louisville this year, but hey, they're 8-1. They're ranked 11 right now, so we definitely we could be seeing them in a New Year's Six Bowl if everything plays out well for them. So shout out to Louisville here. All right, and as we know, college football playoff, they put 10 through 7 because they want to have those top 6 by themselves there. So 10 through 7, Penn State still got the whole season in front of them. Doesn't matter if they've got a loss. If you go out, you beat Michigan, you win the Big Ten championship, you're in the playoffs. So season's still in front of you. It doesn't matter. You're at 10. Good for you. Ole Miss. Tough game against Texas A&M, moves up 1 spot. Ole Miss and Jackson Dart. I don't think they're going to be doing anything in the SEC realm. I definitely think Bama's going to win the SEC West. Georgia's going to win the SEC East, but good for Ole Miss, ranked number 9. So who knows? Maybe they prove me wrong. Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart got something cooking up there that I don't know. Alabama, just when everyone thought you wrote them off, I was talking about it early in the year. Everyone said, Bama's on a down year. Bama's on a down year. Well, guess what? All of a sudden, their defense looks fantastic. Jalen Milroe's running over defenses like it's, he's Lamar Jackson. And all of a sudden, here they are ranked number 8 with their whole season in front of them once again. So how Bama, always is. They look like they're having a down year, and then they're not. Well, I shouldn't say that. Usually, they're always having a good year. But the years when it looks like they're having a down year, boom, come back. Here we are in the playoff. Texas, good thing they have Texas still above Bama. Got to obviously slot them above Bama, given that they won head-to-head. But these are the teams that are not in the top 6. So as of right now, outside looking in for these teams, but every single one still has their seat in front of them. If they win out, win their conference championship, you'll see yourself in the college football playoff. But let's get into the top 6. This is the really important stuff here, obviously. So this is the big stuff. I'll start with 5 and 6. We got Oregon and Washington. Once again, I mean, Oregon, their resume isn't that good. They've got one win against a team over 500. Aside from that, not looking great. Now, that being said, they did play really tough against Washington, so the committee's definitely giving them, some respect there on their resume. The fact that, hey, you went into Washington and lost by, I think it was 3 points. Super close game, came down to the wire. They're putting some respect on them. And Washington, obviously, one spot ahead of them. But if both of these teams win out and they win their conference, I think they'll find themselves in the college football playoff, even with that one loss. But now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know. If Oregon has one loss and Alabama and Georgia are playing the SEC championship and Alabama beats Georgia, you can't have Georgia not in. That'll be tricky. So for Washington, they definitely need to win out. And if Oregon somehow beats them or one of them catch a weird loss, they could see themselves not in the playoffs. So I don't know. It's tricky. Definitely just what these teams need to do, just win out no matter what, see what happens. 3 and 4. We got Florida State at 4, Michigan at 3. Hey, as long as Florida State keeps winning, nothing you can do. It doesn't matter the ACC's in a down year. That conference will get shaken up a little bit, obviously, in the future, becoming a full coastal conference, which is ridiculous. But ACC, obviously a little bit easier competition. They're still undefeated. You go 12-0, you win the ACC championship, you'll find yourself in that 4 slot, and you'll find yourself in the college football playoff. Michigan at number 3. Let them in the playoff. The cheaters, just keep them in there. So, I mean, it is what it is. There's that ongoing investigation will never get figured out. They're going to be at number 3 right now, and they deserve to. They're undefeated, but obviously they've got big game coming up. They've got both Penn State and Ohio State still on the schedule, so they've definitely got the gauntlet to run ahead of them. So, we're going to have to see how that works for Michigan moving forward. Lastly, number 2 and number 1. My bet, we're going to keep it the same way. Georgia's going to be at 2. Ohio State's going to be at 1. It doesn't really matter at this point. They've got a ton of big games to play. It'll shake out, however, but they're both in good spots, and I was correct. Georgia at 2, Ohio State at 1. I think Georgia should be 1. If I was on the College Football Playoff Committee, I would vote Georgia in at number 1 because I think Georgia's offense is far superior than Ohio State's offense. Ohio State's offense hasn't really gotten it going, so I would personally put Georgia at 1 right now. They're back-to-back national champions, so why are they not at 1 if they're 9-0? Just my thoughts. So maybe the College Football Playoff is just doing that so I can have a conversation like this on my YouTube channel. So thank you, College Football Playoff, for screwing that up because Georgia should be at 1. But like I said, doesn't matter really for these teams. They've still got a ton of games, big time games ahead of them that they have to win their conference championship, and then get into the playoff. But this is where we're sitting right now. This is the picture we got. I'm super excited to see how it plays out. Like I said, that conference championship weekend with seeing all these situations play out, teams with one loss, undefeated teams, and seeing how all that plays out. It's going to be super fun. Very fun every single year. This is the last year we're going to be able to do it with 4 teams. Next year, you're going to be sitting there looking at, number 13, 14, 15, 16, seeing how that plays out. And that's going to be electric as it is because, then teams got to be worrying about home field advantage. You got to be worrying about win your conference championship. Doesn't matter, yada, yada, yada. It's going to be electric. But I'm going to take my time, enjoy the 14 playoff as it is right now, seeing how this plays out for the last year that we got it. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the college football playoff rankings. Let me know if you don't agree with the committee. Let me know if you don't maybe agree with me. But as always, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my football content, and I will see you next time.